All right, today we're going to talk about sugar. And this is something that many people hold on to their sugar and their sweets, and they have a sweet tooth. So it's a very dear topic to many people. I'm going to talk about some pretty open things about why I don't like sugar and why I always recommend as one of my big 3 diet changes to cut the sugar out. First and foremost is the fact that sugar and carbohydrates, processed carbohydrates, are empty calories. This means that the nutrition they provide is non-existent or very little compared to the calories they provide. And building on top of that, there's something called hedonic adaptation, which is our ability to become accustomed to what we already have. And so this is going to be my biggest gripe with things like diet soda. Sure, diet sodas don't have calories, and there's some evidence that the artificial sugars that they use to sweeten those are pretty bad for your GI tract and bacteria, but we can put that aside and just look at the fact that, okay, maybe they don't have calories. Does that make it just as good as water? Well, no, because there's something called the hedonic adaptation that means that we as humans become accustomed to what we have. And so adding in things that are sweet all the time makes it harder and harder for us to actually get used to normal taste. So fruit, for example, gets lumped in as a health food now when it's really a dessert. It's a natural dessert because it's a lot of sugar in there, fructose. Now, I'm not comparing fruit to a dessert, so to speak, but I am saying that we've gotten used to fruit and we think of it as a health food as opposed to thinking of it as a sweet item. And when we no longer think of that as sweet and we look to Reese's and ice cream as a sugar dessert, that's when you start to get a lot more sugar than you think. In addition to this, when you're drinking your sugar, the sugar that's mixed in is soluble, so you don't see it. When's the last time you had sweet tea or a soda? Can you tell the difference between 5 grams of sugar and 25 grams of sugar or 50 grams of sugar? Next time you have a soda or a sweet tea, look at the calories on the back. You'd be amazed to see how much sugar is in a bottle of soda. It's not that you can taste that or see it from an actual granular perspective, but it's mixed in, so you don't even realize you're getting that much. And if you were to have that much sugar and say, 3 or 4 cookies, that's a very different experience. So it's easy to overeat sugar because you don't always understand how much you're getting. And a lot of times they operate on the principle of, well, more sugar is better. So, we could have 10 grams of sugar, but we'll do 40 or 50. Next time you're making dessert or let's say cookies or brownies at home, try this. Cut the sugar in half and then see if you notice a difference. And not only are these more palatable by your body, they're more absorbable as well. This means that when you eat, let's say 100 calories of chocolate, it's very quick and very easy to absorb, and you're going to absorb 100 calories of chocolate. As opposed to something like almonds or broccoli, which are more natural and less processed, your body has a harder time absorbing those calories. So if you eat 100 calories of broccoli, you may only absorb 70 to 80 of those compared to the sugar. So it's easy to overeat these empty calories. They're highly palatable and they're very absorbable by your body. So it's a very risky situation. And when you look at processed carbohydrates from an energy perspective, your body likes them because they're very easily digestible and they provide a quick hit of energy. This is like if you have a fire and you throw a bunch of newspaper on it. It's going to burn up very quickly. The problem with this is that it burns out very quickly. And this compared to something like a log, which takes a lot of time and heat and energy to start burning, but it burns for a long time at a constant rate, that's a very different experience for your body. This is why people will have energy crashes when they have a high carb or high processed carb meal and they don't have a lot of fat or protein, because your body absorbs all that, uses it, shifts to carbohydrates and that quick energy as a fuel source, and then runs out of it and crashes. And you can have this craving up and down all the time. And if you've ever gotten that kind of jittery, shaky, I need more food right now, that's because your body's worked through the carbohydrates. And so when you always have that sugar and the processed carbohydrates coming in and out of your body, it has a big effect on your hormones and your mental energy and your emotional state as well. And I'm sure you've heard that sugar causes inflammation. And my problem with that is that inflammation is this big catch-all word that really doesn't mean much. If you hear people use the word inflammation and there's not really a direct relation to it, take that with a grain of salt. Like an example of a good use is that when you get too much exposure to the sun, you get burnt. That's inflammation of your skin, causes redness, irritation, and a rash. That's a direct cause and effect. But when you say, oh, sugar causes irritation in your body, I don't know what that relates to. I will say anecdotally, however, that I notice that my joints feel more irritable and swollen when I have a lot of sugar. And I tend to feel more achy and less supple after having a lot of sugar for a few days. That and the other side is, I've heard it said that sugar can lower your immune system. I'm not sure. I think the jury's still out on whether that's true or not, but I will say that when you eat sugar, it does cause a delayed onset of sleep. So if you have a lot of sugar later at night, and same with caffeine, your body gets an energetic boost and it pumps you up, which means it's harder to fall asleep. And if you're eating a lot of sugar and you have energy crashes and your hormones are consistent, you're not sleeping as well and your body doesn't feel as well, and you're not moving as much, all of these things go into lowering your overall health and ability to resist stress, which does lower your immune system. So at the end of the day, when you're looking at sugar, there are better options. Sugars do not have much benefit to bring to the table unless it's something you're planned out. I'm not sitting here saying you can never have sugar again. I'm simply saying that from a day-to-day perspective, limiting or cutting out sugar entirely is only going to have positive benefits. That way you can save up and go out on a Saturday and have a few drinks or have a cake or whatever it is you like. But when you do that every day, you start to feel bad and you see a lot of negative repercussions without a lot of benefit. So either cut the sugar out or really work to lower it. It's not a lot of benefit for that.